Hi, everyone. It's Marco Gonzalez. Welcome to On the Couch Live. So great to see you. Sorry, I was a little bit like 1 minute late because we had some homeschool issues with Zoom, which is just the new normal. I think I should just be used to that at this point. Oh my, what a day already. But it's so great to see all of you. A little cloudy outside, but guests like Trevor Romain, who I'm having today, certainly will brighten our day. I'm very excited to talk to him. He has sold well over 1 million children's books. I'm sure many of your kids have watched his videos or read his books over the years. And he just finds a way to make really difficult subjects easy to talk about. And that's the whole point of having somebody this skilled writing children's books so that it's written in their language and they understand how to handle certain situations. So it's really exciting. So I'm going to wait for him to join. And as soon as he does, I'm going to bring him in. I see many of you joining. It's so great to see you. Marty, I see you. Alex, great to see you as well. So once Trevor joins, I will bring him in. And remember, you can ask questions throughout our conversation, and I will bring you in, your questions rather, and we will answer them, and we'll have a good time. Trevor has joined, so let me bring him in. Hold on one second.
Hello.
Trevor, how's it going?
I woke up this morning and I was alive. So I'm doing good.
That's a good start.
Absolutely. So, go
So
ahead.
you're in Hawaii right now, right?
Um, yes, fortunately I am. Yes, I in Kauai, Hawaii.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. I kind of want to see ocean. No, I'm kidding.
Um,
I'm kidding.
there are a few trees in the way, unfortunately, but it's not very far, and I can hear it at night sometimes. But it's a great place to be.
Fantastic. Well, I am so glad that you are sitting here with me on the couch live. And I'm just in awe of everything that you have done. Written over 50 books, sold over 1 million copies, and published in 22 languages. That is so impressive.
Well, thank you. I don't understand many of the languages, so I hope they got the translations right. But I've been writing since I was a little boy and professionally for 35 years. So it's one of those little by little, a little becomes a lot. And people often say to me, wow, um, you're so lucky to get published. I can tell you that it's a lot of the luck I made myself by irritating editors and sending them
Mm.
manuscripts over and over and over again until they had to either tell me to stop or publish the book. You know? So a lot of it was perseverance, really.
I was just going to say determination and perseverance gets people quite far. And your books, you tackle some difficult situations and topics and make them easy for kids to understand. I want to read some of your titles. This is one of your best sellers, I know. Connecting with Kids in a Disconnected World, which fits so well right now. Another one, another title, Stress Can Really Get on Your Nerves. And another one, Taking the Duh Out of Divorce. So these are topics that are sometimes, like I mentioned, tough to bring up, especially for parents to talk to their kids about. How do you go about it, making it so that it's understandable for a kid?
One of the things I learned early on is that if you speak to kids in their own language, it's much better to communicate with them. What I've found often is by using a little bit of humor and also sharing situations I've been through or situations friends have been through that I can say, oh wow, I kind of understand a little bit about what you're experiencing because I've experienced this or I know somebody who has. And using humor, I found all the way along has opened many doors. I've worked a lot with terminally ill kids, and when you walk into a hospital room, everything is very serious. And the minute you crack a joke, it lightens everything up. And I found that it opens the door to communication with kids. So that's why I went that route. Plus, I'm very immature anyway. I'm a 14-year-old trapped in an older dude's body. And I speak kid. So I'm able to communicate with them, yeah.
And you can tell they really relate to you, which is so incredible and so important for what you do. And aside from the books, you also do videos. And right now, I know one of them that I happen to watch. It's called Comical Sense, is what the videos are under. And coronavirus, it's something that everybody can't help but talk about. It's what we're all inundated with. It's impacting schools and everything. And one of them, I have to show if I can. Let me just show so people can see exactly what I'm talking about. So cute. You use the Sky News as like your reporter. So look at how cute this little girl is for people.
Hello, my name is Sky. Welcome to Sky News. When people have COVID-19 and they speak or laugh, tiny droplets that we cannot see come out of their mouths. Those little droplets can reach other people quite easily, especially when we are talking excitedly or yelling, and even more so when we sneeze or cough. Those droplets don't do much harm if we are healthy, but sometimes people actually have COVID-19 without even knowing it. So, by wearing a mask, we stand a better chance of not passing the virus on to other people.
I love that. And it goes on. I love the vibrancy of just the vibe of that, and I was watching a bunch of them and I could see how kids can really, be entertained yet informed at the same time.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I try to do in my animations and in my storytelling is to be real, be honest, and instead of trying to lecture to kids, what I try and do is validate what they are feeling and put myself in their position, because so often, what do we do as adults the whole time? We say to kids, don't worry, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
That doesn't help. What that does is make you feel okay that I've sorted it out. I've told them they're going to be okay. But we've got to tell them the truth. And by just keep stating facts like the mask, there's a lot of controversy, obviously, about masks. But if we are going to have some kind of general standard of something everybody does, I want them to be able to understand how it works and why. And I always make them know that that's my opinion. Of course, but showing them something instead of just telling them helps too a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And where did the idea of using Sky News, where did that come up?
Well, her name is Sky, and there's a British TV news channel called Sky News, and I just one day thought, oh, Sky News. Now, my two lead characters' names are Jack and Sky.
Okay.
I wrote a book called What on Earth to Do When Somebody Dies, just to help kids understand, what death is all about. And in the process of writing that book, we were also coming up with the TV series. And my dad's name is Jack, and he passed away many years ago, and he's in the sky. So for me to remember my dad, every time I work on the series or something, it's like, her name is Sky, and Jack and Sky. So that little thing came about.
That is so fantastic. I love that you can tie in your own personal life with your videos. That is so cool. So, I love that you said a couple quotes, and Trevor, I want to read them because I think that people will gain so much from them. They're so uplifting. So one of your quotes is, failure is not permanent. I love that. Another one, nothing can grow in your comfort zone. Another one, little by little, a little becomes a lot. And the final one, don't let someone dim your light simply because it's shining in their eyes. So powerful.
Yeah, and those are the four columns that I base my life and my career on. And don't let someone dim your light. I was bullied at school. I'm dyslexic. I was in special education class as a young boy with ADD and told I wouldn't amount to anything. And I believed them. I believed I was stupid for a long time. And once, I realized that as a grown-up, I was like, wow, I let somebody actually put me in a compartment that I actually closed myself in because of what I believed other people said. And then the comfort zone too, nothing does grow in your comfort zone. I had the honor and privilege of going to the Congo, Uganda, Burundi, and Rwanda to work with former child soldiers, using creativity to help them express themselves. And man, I was petrified to go. And it was out of my comfort zone. But I learned more there than I ever learned in school. So it's just a matter of putting your toe in a little bit first and then going. And then little by little, a little becomes a lot is one of my favorite sayings, because people say, well, I'd love to write a book. How did you manage to write 50 books? Well, one page at a time, one paragraph at a time, and you can't run a marathon in a day. You've got to run that first mile, which you die when you're training. And that's how it moves forward. Yeah.
With the end result, it's all worth it. And aside from your writing books and the illustrations, you also went on several USO tours, talking to military kids, and it took you around the country and various places. But, you know, talking to kids who have either lost loved ones who are deployed or injured or maybe even killed, what was that experience like?
Well, what I realized is that, first of all, that there are 2 million military kids. We have 2 million kids whose parents are in the military. And now, because we've been at war for so long, those kids, their parents may be on their 6th, 7th, 8th deployment, something like that. They, you know, they have sometimes not able to be in touch with their parents when they are special forces. And I just realized that these kids didn't choose to be military kids. They were conscripted. Their parents chose to be in the military. So we formed a nonprofit called the Comfort Crew for military kids, just to support these kids. And I went on a USO tour initially I went to Germany, I went to Guantanamo Bay, went to Japan, and after we toured for almost 10 years, I got to go to 16 countries, and to every US military base we have outside the US that has kids. And I just understood, that these kids were going through a tough time. Having been deployed myself, I understand what some of their parents are going through, so I could be a connector between them and their parents in terms of how they communicate. And it's been a real honor to serve that way and give back to, obviously you can hear that I'm not an American by birth, but I always, say I'm an American by choice.
Yes. I love your accent. I think it's incredible. Well, as a dad myself, kids have a soft spot in my heart. And it must bring such joy to you to see in their eyes, when you're looking at them after explaining a tough subject and seeing their face brighten, going, oh my gosh, you get it. What is that like, just to see that what you're doing is making such an impact?
That's such a great question, and thanks for asking that, because there's an example of how validating what a child is feeling gives, it's in the giving that you receive. Everybody says to me, wow, what, you're doing these great things. I'm like, well, you wouldn't believe what those great things are doing for me. I'll give you an example. I was at a refugee camp in the Congo. I was with part of the United Nations contingent, and we walked in there, and the kids swarm you when you walk in because they just want somebody to hug and hold. And man, here come all these kids. And so one of the workers came with a rolled up newspaper, and he was swatting all the kids away from us because they just, we were the officials, the VIPs, So except for one little boy, he put his finger through my belt loop and he would not let go. And they were trying to get the kids to move away. I said, no, it's okay. Let him stay. So for the rest of the day, that little boy walked around with me and he hung on my belt loop. Oh. I was drawing on the drawing board. He was hanging, facing the little classrooms.
How cute.
And that little boy had lost both his parents. He was about 5 or 6. And at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he pulls my sleeve, and through the translator and broken English and a little bit of French and what have you, I get to ask him. He says, can I ask you a question? And I said, yes, of course. So one of the things I do when I do speak to kids is I go down to their level. Because if you are looming over a child, sometimes it's overpowering and overbearing for them to be able to let you in and open up. So I get down to the kid's level, and he wants to ask me a question. I said, yeah, what's your question? So he says to me, can you tell me where my mommy is? And his mother was not there. So one of the workers immediately says to him, don't worry, I told you we're going to find all your mommies one day. Don't you worry. And I said, whoa, 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 hang on. So I looked at the little boy and I said to him, where do you think your mommy is? He said, oh, she died. She's in heaven. I said, oh, okay. I'll tell you what, tonight when I say my prayers, my father died. I'm going to pass on a message to please tell your mommy that you love her and you miss her and you will never forget her. Okay? He looks at me with the biggest smile, throws this hug around me and won't let go. And for the rest of the week that I was there, that was my best friend. But I realized afterwards that we tell kids what we think they need to hear instead of listening to what they're asking for. And when I see a kid being heard and I see that reflected in their eyes, that's the best feeling in the world for me. Money cannot buy that, ever.
Trevor, that is so beautiful. I'm like, give me a moment. Wow, what that experience that you just gave to us was just, I felt that. That is incredible. I can tell everybody joining as well, you know, somebody just put, what a pure joy to experience. You know, you have so many people that, you know, maybe their kids have grown up with you, kind of teaching them some of these topics. And, you know, it's not just for kids. I think that as adults, we can watch those videos and really understand how we should be talking to kids. Because I would think that, I wanted to ask you, but you kind of answered my question. I was going to say, what do you think us as parents are doing wrong? I mean, just from your own perspective. And I think that what you said about getting to their level, not necessarily height-wise, but also their level of communication and listening is key. Listening to our kids, I think, is the biggest takeaway.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I don't think parents are doing anything wrong. Sometimes they just don't know. We don't have the manual. And so, you know, just listening is a great thing. And I did a cartoon recently that said the best gift you can give a child is your time without a cell phone. And, you know,
I like that.
It is just actually being present, because so many people say, well, I'm with my kid, and they are totally distracted. So, and it's also one of those things that I think we underestimate how resilient kids are when we give them the right tools. And I think that's what we've got to teach them, is not lecture them what's right or wrong. That's important, obviously, but we've got to give them solutions to some of the stuff they come to us with. Instead of just trying to soothe them and comfort them, let's give them tools to be able to say, okay, how do you ask for support? I use the word support because if you talk about a child asking for help, that infers that they are helpless, but they're not helpless. Sometimes they need extra support. And teaching a child how to ask you for support when they need it, I think, is one of the best gifts you can give a child too, because they don't know how to ask you. Sometimes they'll dye their hair purple. Sometimes it's a screaming tantrum. But really what they're trying to do is ask you something that they don't know how to ask. If you give them the vehicle or the channel to be able to ask you, it's going to be able to help them navigate that same situation in the future. As opposed to coming to look for comfort, they are going to have a solution.
So that's great advice. And I know I've been guilty of, you know, whether I have my iPad, I'm like, okay, hold on. What? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm that guy who is letting technology run my time without paying attention. So sometimes I have to step back and say, okay, I need to put my devices down, because I'm also a realtor. So I'm dealing with people all the time. And I'm like, okay, I need to focus on the kids and get to business later. I totally get that.
Yeah, I think an important thing is, look, technology is part of our lives. It's the way we communicate these days. It's the way we do business. And especially now that a lot of people are at home, it is business. But I think if we actually carve out some time and have that time as a no technology time, and then everybody knows this is the time, and we spend the time and we enjoy the time.
Yeah.
But we have to have technology, and that's how many of us are staying alive in business. But how it impacts our family is how we choose to use it.
Yeah.
And so we can set aside and say, okay, this is a no technology time for anybody. Let's play a game. Let's be foolish. Let's be mischievous. You know, let's knock on the neighbor's door and run away. You know, just, you know, being in that space with them, I think is so important.
designate the time. And something you've been working on, or I know that you just finished, something with the alphabet. Tell me about that.
Oh, I wrote a book called Go Read, because so often parents come to me and they say, you know, my child doesn't read. My child doesn't like reading. Mainly boys, initially. My child doesn't like reading. And I say, do you read? They go, no, I haven't got time to read. I'm like, well, listen, you're the example. You're the role model. Sit down with your child and say, okay, you read and I'm going to read something, or I'm going to work on something that I have to read. And that way you show them a good example. Go Read is a book about the alphabet, but it's a biography of a book. So basically the story is, the book says, hi, I'm a book. I live with 26 roommates, you know, and which is the alphabet, and it goes on to describe each one and how they all live in this book together. So they got to get on well with each other. And basically the book at the end says, look, you don't need any batteries to use me. You know, you won't break me if you drop me. You can get a few inches taller if you sit on me. But, you know, if you want to read in the dark, you get a flashlight and you can read under the covers. So it's just basically a book telling the reader how important the reader is, because the book gets lonely on the shelf by itself if it only gets opened once or twice a year. So
That's so creative. That is such a creative way to grab the kids and say, oh, you need to read. And then the parents too. It's like wake up call.
yeah.
So when people find all of everything you've done, whether it's the videos and the books, where can they go to find all of that?
The best way is trevorromain.com. And Romain has no E. Although I was called Lettuce Head my whole life at school, Trevor Romain, yeah, it's Trevor Romain without the E. And that's the best sort of funnel for stuff. You know, a lot of my books are on Amazon and all that, but trevorromain.com is the best funnel to go and find stuff.
Oh, fantastic. Trevor, this has been so enlightening for me as a dad, as a person. I feel like I've learned a lot, and this is, you know, I appreciate that so much that you took time to chat with me and to all of our people that are tuning in.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. You know, I think we're at a time in our lives now where we've got to work together. We are so fragmented, and that's when I wrote Connecting with Kids in a Disconnected World. It's actually connecting with everybody in a disconnected world, because we are, the way we are gonna actually get the world a better place is if we communicate better and understand that other people have opinions. It doesn't make them a bad person. We just have to figure out why that is triggering us and how we can connect. And I appreciate you letting me waffle on, and I love what I do, and it's so wonderful to be able to share it. And thank you for what you do. You help people to become aware of how they can be a better person, better parent, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Trevor. Well, I appreciate you, and so does everybody else. Thank you so much, and your smile says it all, that you love what you do.
I do.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Oh, please, absolutely. I would love to. Maybe we can collaborate one day. Wouldn't that be great?
I would love that. I got some ideas. Okay.
We'll talk.
Okay. Bye, Trevor.
Take care. Cheers.
Take care. Wow. Talk about enlightening. And, you know, all of his things, whether they're the books, the videos, I'm telling you, your kids and yourself, you will learn so much from them. I caught myself kind of watching one after the other. And he has one that he did recently under the Comical Sense videos, and it's on the coronavirus, how to explain to your kids about the coronavirus. And it's done so well that even my kids, I was showing them, they're like, oh, you know, it's just the little graphics and the way he speaks. It's just, I just love it. Well, as always, I appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Marco Gonzalez, and I'll see you next time right here on the couch. Enjoy your day.